Hi Data Fellows, welcome to session 33, where we are discussing the role that data should play and how it should have a voice at the leadership table. The learning objectives of today's session are that after this session, you'll be able to determine best processes and practices for communicating data to different stakeholders, and that you'll reflect on your own communication style to determine how best to communicate the data to various stakeholders. Today's session will be similar to last week's session in that we'll present a scenario and then share tools that you can use if you find yourself in a similar situation. The scenario for this session is as follows. Omar, a new data analyst at Longhorn ISD, walks out soaked in dejection and confusion from a meeting with his supervisor. Jen, Omar's supervisor, sits in her office in a swelter of frustration and confusion. What led to this zone of uncertainty? Let's revisit the event of the previous night. The previous night at Longhorn ISD board meeting, Omar debuted a dashboard on tutoring impact for the district. The dashboard demonstrated that the district is not on track to meet its tutoring target in hours of tutoring per student. This puts the district in jeopardy of not meeting state requirements for mandated hours of tutoring per student. The board peppered the district leadership with questions about the effectiveness of its tutoring program. Flustered district leaders fumbled their responses to the board. How reliable are these findings? The board chair pointed at Omar to answer the question. Highly. My work is impeccable. I've triple-checked the numbers. Jen leaned into Omar and said, we need to talk first thing tomorrow morning. The goal of data is to empower team decisions. Whether the data is positive or negative is relative. The voice of the data fellow is to guide team decisions on sound facts and figures. To avoid a situation like the situation Jen and Omar are in, your team should use a schedule similar to the 3 stages of publishing data. The first stage is collection, followed by production, and lastly ends with publication. The first stage is the data collection stage. This stage should take approximately 10 business days and consist of 3 actions. The first action is creating the system for middle-of-year test data collection. The second is finishing implementation data collection before the middle-of-year testing. And the third is data entry validation. We're now going to dive deeper into each of these actions, sharing tools we have previously covered that relate to each action. Again, the first action in the collection stage is creating a system for middle-of-year test data collection, which should occur by December 7. Standardized definitions and formats are critical to ensuring consistent data collection and analysis. Imagine, for example, one person records attendance data with a 1 indicating absence and 2 indicating presence, while another enters 0 indicating absence and 1 indicating presence. This will seriously impact the analysis and what attendance data will look like. It's so important to document these data entry steps so that they're consistently applied by yourself as a data fellow, as well as others who may be assisting in data work. 2 tools that we've previously discussed that you can use to build data integrity are a data inventory and a data dictionary. A data inventory is a single location to document what data are available across your campus or district. It includes a description of each data source, how each is collected, how it's used, and where to access it. It's a crucial starting point in gauging what data are available to build a dashboard or report. This also helps build a data culture. A data dictionary is a centralized document for a project or data set that includes for each variable the data type, definition, possible values, and handling of missing data. It's important to reference when cleaning data and understanding how data sets can connect when building a dashboard or visual. The second action in the collection stage is finishing implementation data collection before middle of year testing. This action should involve collecting implementation data from various sources, such as student information systems, human resources, and stakeholder surveys and focus groups. The final action in the collection stage is completing data entry validation. Keeping data clean requires catching and correcting errors early so that corrupt data may be cleaned quickly and faulty collection processes can be adjusted. Issues with data can be caught with regular reviews of reports. An administration portal to the data systems will facilitate routine data checks. Data outliers and results that seem improbable should be investigated, and data collection procedures should be modified before a database is filled with bad information. It's also important to emphasize that policies are most effective when enthusiastically supported by faculty, staff, students, and parents. All stakeholders must have confidence in data quality before they can embrace database decisions. Advances in educational technology have streamlined the process of collecting and reporting information. Upgrading data systems to meet current standards will go a long way towards reducing incidents of missing, inaccurate, and duplicated data that can corrupt a district's information systems, allowing users to have faith in the data's integrity. A tool that we've previously introduced that can be used to consistently clean and validate your data is the data cleaning checklist. The next stage in the 3 stages of publishing data is the production stage. This stage should take approximately 8 business days and consists of 3 actions. The first action is completing the data analysis. The second is that the top-line results are shared with the internal team. And the third action is that the report is finalized with team support. Again, we will dive deeper into tools that you can use to support each of these actions in the upcoming slides. The first action in the production stage is completing the data analysis. The analysis should be guided by your measurement plan, a plan that outlines each goal or research question, the type of goal it is, what data sources will be used to progress monitor, what specific measures will be used from that data source, and then the specific level of detail that you will look at. Again, identifying this upfront with your stakeholders involved will ensure that each data point you collect has a clear purpose and will speak to whether an objective was met or not. Then, based on your measurement plan, you can determine the best way to analyze your data. Use the graphic to the right, presented in Session 8, to assist in identifying the descriptive statistic to meet your reporting needs. The second action in the production stage is that top-line results are shared with the internal team. As discussed in earlier sessions, we recommend that you create and follow a feedback and communication plan to ensure that all stakeholders are aware of the logistics of data collection, analysis, and have time to provide feedback. This document would thus include the specific date for when the top-line results will be shared with the internal team, when feedback will be collected, and how it will be incorporated. The final action in the production stage is that the report is finalized with the team input. The report should be modified based on the input received from the internal stakeholder group. The final report, which could be disseminated in multiple ways, including a written report, dashboard, and/or presentation, should incorporate the raw data and stakeholder feedback. The final stage is the publication stage. This stage should take approximately 8 working days and consists of 3 actions. The first action is that the results are shared publicly. The second is that questions and feedback are solicited from the public. The last action is that outstanding items, including any unanswered questions and clarifications, are completed. A really helpful tool to guide this communication and feedback process is the feedback and communication template previously discussed. This will ensure that everyone is on the same page and knows when and how feedback are being collected and incorporated. We're now going to ask you to pause and brainstorm steps that you can take to incorporate the 3 stages of publishing data into your own work. Spend 5 minutes brainstorming some steps that you can take, and then come back to the session. We're now going to jump into an activity. The scenario driving the activity is that Omar shared the dashboard that is linked in the notes of this slide at the Longhorn ISD board meeting. Now, you're being asked to review the dashboard and answer the following questions. What are the top 5 questions the audience will have regarding this data? And 2, how can data push the Longhorn ISD board to make a change based on the data? And 3, think of a catchy, succinct title for this dashboard to communicate the findings to the board in 4 seconds or less. Document your work on the Jamboard that is also linked in the slide notes using the asynchronous page, page 4. Pause and go through and work through the session and then our activity, and then come back to complete the session when you're done. After answering the 2 questions and coming up with a title for your own dashboard, spend some time going through pages 1 through 3 of the Jamboard to review what some other groups came up with during the synchronous session. Review what questions they had regarding the data and how they felt that data can push the Longhorn ISD board to make changes based on what's being observed. That concludes the end of today's session. As a reminder, what we have coming up during the remainder of the month, we have both our Community of Practice and office hours on Wednesday, June 14th. The Community of Practice is from 8:30 to 9:30 a.m., and the office hours is from 1 to 2 p.m. Our first July synchronous session will be on Tuesday, July 11th from 1 to 2:30 p.m., and our first office hours for July will be Tuesday, July 18th from 1 to 2 p.m. As a reminder, all July sessions are not required for you to attend. That concludes the end of today's session. As a reminder, please remember to complete the exit ticket. This documents that you completed the session, as well as provides us with important feedback to improve the information we're delivering. As always, thank you for listening, and we hope you have a great day. Thank you.